Today, we'll be talking about 10 tips for beginning and new players. So, if you like this content, please like, comment, and subscribe. The first thing we're going to talk about is skills. There's two different types of skills. There's a active skill and passive skill. So passive skills happen without you doing anything, like ducking, acrobatics, and vitality. For example, we could do weapon polishing, which is a skill we have to press the button for it to actually do, and it buffs us. So another active skill is triple slash. It's something we actively have to do, and it does damage to enemies. We can also heal ourselves with heal. That's an active skill. So there's lots of different little active skills. Mess around, go ahead and get them. They're really cool. So you could use them and drag them to your hotbar so you could use them. So just keep that in mind. For a long time, I just didn't ever use my active skills, and turned out I wasted a lot of time just not knowing. Our next tip is to get an altar of civilization. Once you get an altar of civilization, you need to immediately level it up. So to craft one, you need stone and logs. Just 10. Really easy to get. So once you go here, you sacrifice stuff to progress to the next age. Once you go ahead and get these really cool ages, you could get really cool stuff like a war tank, these chests, skilled machine factory. There's some really cool stuff you could get the more you progress, and that's what's really gonna bottleneck your progression. The next thing we're gonna talk about is a glider. Gliders are really come in handy. They can prevent you from falling to your death. So to craft one, you need a workbench. Go over to your workbench, and there are 6 stone and 8 wood. Really easy to get. Once you get one, here I'll show you how they work. They use your stamina, and they allow you to glide, basically. So you just float around. Just keep in mind, if you use up all your stamina, you will fall from the sky, and you can die from fall damage if you're off the side of a mountain trying to travel fast. So just keep that in mind. There's skills that you could get to make you take less stamina, but I wouldn't really worry about it. My next tip is to craft yourself a fishing pole. They're pretty easy to craft. I think you could craft it from your inventory, really. You just need 10 wood log, 1 stone, and 1 straw. You could get that once you progress to the next age when you first start out. So go ahead and just start fishing. This will allow you to get access to things that allow you to get quite a bit of money. They also allow you to get good food. Fishing could get you some pretty cool things and allow you to progress a little bit faster. Good money maker. Also pick up these like little shellfish when you're fishing. They sell for a little pretty penny. So go ahead and get yourself that. My next tip is to go ahead while you're fishing is to get crab pots. I don't remember when you could get crab pots, but they're fairly early on. Get yourself some crab pots, and you could go out here, and these will passively just get stuff for you when you're doing other things. You could be, I don't know, fighting bosses, being in dungeons, exploring. You could be doing quite literally anything, and these things will get you stuff from lobsters, crabs, squid. You could make these into food. You could sell them. It really depends what you're gonna do, so just do whatever you really want. That leads us directly into our next tip. Our next tip is food. You want to get yourself a cooking pot. To craft yourself a cooking pot, you gotta go to your workbench. Once you run over your workbench, you could go ahead and craft yourself a cooking pot. Once you get a cooking pot, right here, also you could use a campfire, but cooking pot's really gonna help you out. So once you get it, it's stone and charcoal. You run over here, and I could use my cooking pot, and you can make yourself fried egg. Really easy to get from chickens or just picking them up off the ground. You could get eggs, and you could cook them and get 3 health and 3 food. And or you could just go over here with the same ingredient and get more status effects. So obviously this is the best way to go right here. is to get yourself a cooking pot and craft yourself some really good food. Food will help you get into the end game. It'll help you from dying. It'll give you tons of stamina, health, HP, could give you mana. It just gives you a ton of food depending on what the food is. So just keep that in mind. This will help you. This is going to help you fight bosses. This is going to be your lifeline. This will give you that extra little boost. My next tip is to get a marketplace. Okay, you could get a marketplace. You could craft it. Pretty easy to get. It's hard to find though. You could get yourself a marketplace. They only take 10 stone, 10 wood. Pretty easy to get. So come on over here and you could just sell unwanted items. So your fishing stuff, you're like squid. I don't want squid, shrimp. I don't want those. Just keep in mind when you get a fillet machine, these same fish, like a raw dolphin fish, is 50 gold. Put that into the fillet machine and slice that thing up. You could get 200 gold. That's 150 more gold. And if you're trying to farm gold, that's a really good way to do it. Early game. You could sell these shellfish. You could just sell your items that you don't want, because inventory space is going to be a problem if you don't craft yourself chest. So keep that in mind and go ahead and get yourself a marketplace. Marketplaces are going to come in handy. My next tip is to go explore. Look around the island. There's chests, there's crashed escape pods or supply pods, whatever they're called. You could find all kinds of cool things everywhere. You could find new metals up here. You could also find dungeons. You'll go into dungeons and you do some crazy stuff. So just keep that in mind. Find cool things. Explore. You'll also find a warp portal thing that you could get. An altar of transportation. If you get to the top of this mountain, there is one. But once you find it, hold E on it and you can pick it up. So when you get an altar of transportation, you'll be able to travel to new places that you haven't been. As you can see, the enemy level's 8. It recommends you. This is how you can get more XP. And if you want new lands and new places, I've unlocked some. As you can see, these are all unlocked. All you need is wood, money, and certain items. It gets more expensive the higher level the place is. So just keep that in mind when you're unlocking. Wow, there's a lot of spots. So just keep that in mind. Cool things. So guys, my last and final tip is to go into a dungeon. Dungeons are pretty easy to do. Just make sure you bring in some food and you'll be okay. Especially on this beginning island. I've never run into a dungeon that's given me issues, and I've gone into the abandoned mine. I don't know if there's anything higher level. There probably is. So just keep that in mind. These are all fairly easy to do, these trial ones. I'm not going to do it, but they're super easy to do. And at the end, you fight a boss. Pretty easy to kill. And then on top of that, you get 5 treasure chests that have better weapons than I had and could really help boost your progress. So just keep that in mind. Find dungeons. You could do them. Make sure you got the inventory space because you'll get tons of new loot. So, if you like this video and you liked my tips, you knew something you didn't know before, or even if you knew all these tips, tell me in the comments, like my video, and subscribe. I'll see you guys later.